NFL banter and debate. It's not a trash talk site, so keep it clean and keep it cordial. That's NFL Addictions on Facebook.com. And if you still have an itch to scratch when you're done with that, you want to visit Raz Addictions on Facebook.com to play their version of the raffle for all kinds of chances at cool prizes. You can even win some cash. Buy a $10 raffle ticket with a chance at $100. That's a chance to win 10 times your money. It don't get any better than that. That's Raz Addictions on Facebook.com for all kinds of cool prizes. Tell them what you've won, Dave.
I've won everything from NFL tailgating barbecue sets. I've got old school helmets. I've got new style helmets. I've got memorabilia rings. I've got signed banners. I've got signed footballs. I've got everything that Raz Addiction offers, folks. They also have more that I haven't won, which is surprising, but they're cheap, affordable, and they're certified stuffs that you can win. So go ahead and check it out.
That's Raz Addictions on Facebook.com. Go there, play, and win. And now it's time for shout-outs.
We have Miss at Julie Noted _PFG NFL writer and co-founder with at Backs Football Guru of at PFG Vibe and PFG Vibecast. Julie is also a Colts writer for at Our Turf Football, a women's group of sports writers with having great pieces and is a great sports follow. Also, we have PackToTheFuture.com, where it features us on their podcast sections, where you can get all the things you didn't even know, where you can check out Packers news and check out tickets to the games and even Packer event updates.
At Parker Momos is a Packers writer and contributor for Die Hard Packer Fan, a great young writer with a different view of the game and brings a ton of energy and passion to his work. Then you've got at MontyJP231, the founder and host of the Full Monty Football Show every Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, featured by Nuts and Bolts Sports on blogtalkradio.com. He works hard on Sundays so you don't have to. And follow the rest of the crew too, at Greg Cowboys, at Lion Cuban, and at the other George Lopez. Again, that's at MontyJP231 on the Twitter.
We're going to round this out with the NFC North Round Table Fellas. Starting off with at Mike Zimmer's Ears. JB is co-host of the Heart and Skull podcast. Then we have at the Fifth Top. Julius Porter is a Detroit native Lions writer for at Detroit Sports Nation, and Uncle Mike 21. Austin Fugelstad is the co-host of at Hollis Hall Brawl, covering all the things you need to know about the Bears, Vikings, Lions, and Packers from these fellas. Also, special shout out to Julius Porter. He's going over to Afghanistan, folks. He's going over to be a contractor to help set up for the soldiers. Go ahead and keep him in your prayers. We're going to miss you, buddy. We'll be holding a spot for you when you get back. We'll miss you and love you.
Much love, Julius. Stay safe, buddy. And as always, you can follow us on the Twitter at First and Goal Pod, myself at UPJ33, Dave is at Steak and Cheese, the fantasy wonder himself, Dillon at DillonBusby1. Email us at firstandgoalpodcast@yahoo.com with all your football and Packer questions. Give us your comments, and you just might end up making the show live. Again, that's firstandgoalpodcast@yahoo.com.
And I got nothing to show, just climbing this rope right here. And if there's a man upstairs, he kept bringing me rain. But I've been sending up prayers and something's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life now. All my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now.
All right, we are back, and it is time for one of our favorite games in the world.
Up the middle, they pick it up. Rodgers looks, lofts left side, got a man out there. Devontae Adams down the left sideline for 50, cutting right to the 40, turns upfield to the 35, 30 to the 25, and down he goes. inside the 25. At the Chicago 20. 10 for the Chicago 12. Snap to Rodgers under a blitz. Rodgers tight pocket.
It's the final drive. All right, I'm going to ask the guys questions, and they are going to answer them the best they can. All right, number one for today. Is Matt LaFleur the leading candidate for Coach of the Year, considering all the off-season expectations and negativity?
Who's going first?
I'll go first, and I'll say no. Right now I have Mr. John Gruden as my Coach of the Year, taking that team that had zero talent, all the AB drama, what's going on with Burfict. They had the hard knocks, everything, and they've exceeded everyone's expectations so far. After trading away Khalil Mack last season, everyone thought he was a fool, a $100 million buffoon. So right now he is my Coach of the Year so far.
That's the wrong answer.
Well, Jay, you're not gonna like my answer anymore either.
All right, next question.
Nope.
Well,
I am saying no to that. I love LaFleur and the expectations he had this year. He's overcoming it. But, I mean, at the same time, you look at it, he's also had Aaron Rodgers to lean on, too. Kind of like the best, driver to kind of take that seat for you. So, my pick is, you're not going to like it, it's Mr. McDermott for Buffalo. He's got the team 7-3. Everyone's quietly sleeping on the Bills right now.
And
good defense.
He got to play the Dolphins. Disqualified. Disqualified.
They face the Dolphins. We face the Giants, the Redskins,
and a coach combination that plays the Dolphins and the Bengals this year. Disqualified.
I'll give an honorable mention to Frank Reich because no one saw that Andrew Luck retirement coming.
Yeah, that was another one I had. Was Frankie's got his team playing good, man. Also, too, I'm sorry, how did I not mention this name? John Harbaugh.
Okay, you're not going to get a wrong buzzer for that one, but he's not Coach of the Year.
Yeah. John Harbaugh's got a strong...
You both are just wrong here, okay? Because I was told that this quarterback that you said that is his reason why he's doing so good was washed up and sucked. I was told out of all the coaches in the league, this guy shouldn't have been a coordinator, let alone a head coach. He wasn't going to win. This thing was going to blow up in our faces. They were going to be freaking 3-13 this year. They had no chance of winning. Rodgers was going to ask for a trade by the end of the season. Freaking Gutekunst was going to get fired. They overspent on free agency. None of these guys are going to work. Amos is a has-been and can't cover. Coach of the Year is LaFleur because the GM puts all the pieces on. It's up to a coach to make sure it all works cohesively.
Can I ask something? How is there a wrong answer if you're asking our opinions?
Because I'm in control. It's a game of I win, and therefore, really. Next question. Will the Vikings continue to win, or will Kirk Cousins turn back into what he's been in the past and hold them back in the big moments? Answer this correctly, or you get buzzed.
I mean, I get buzzed all the time, so I'm used to it.
To have the and the coach
go ahead, Dillon.
To win. I like the Vikings a lot.
I mean, the Vikings have a very deep and talented roster. Ooh, excuse me. I've looked at their schedule a couple times, and there's just some games on there that catch my eye that might trip them up at the end, especially getting close towards their Week 16 matchup. I think they stay consistent for the most part, but I think it comes down to that Week 16 matchup against Green Bay for the division because they got Seattle next week after the bye. So I think they trip up against Seattle and then get a cushion, but then I also think it comes down to that Week 16 matchup versus Green Bay.
Okay. You both answer this? You done? Okay. Yeah. Next question. the Packers beat the 49ers on Sunday, if
Dillon, you want to go first?
The Packers win on Sunday if Devontae Adams sees more than 10 targets.
it'd be good for my fantasy team.
Packers win on Sunday if two things happen. One, their pass rush gets home on Jimmy Garoppolo against a battered offensive line. And two, Aaron Jones sees 25 total touches combined of receiving and rushing.
Okay.
Kenyon Drake almost beat him and had a really heavy dose. Tweez.
All right. Aaron Rodgers has 17 touchdowns so far. Over under, he finishes the season with 30-plus touchdowns.
I'm going under.
That's 13 touchdowns in 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, how many multiple touchdowns?
Each one? Every one from here on out?
I'm going 29 because of the fact he doesn't need to lead on the pass game as much. He's got the run game to do so.
All right, well, then that leans into our next one.
If you have a running back who has 14 total touchdowns, why not use him?
Aaron Jones will have 20-plus touchdowns by the end of the season.
Dylan, you want to go first?
And he has 14 total right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say yeah.
Yep.
All right, and the final one, because this one I have a feeling is going to be a fire starter. Myles Garrett should have his suspension reduced to 6 games.
No, because you've already set the tone, and you don't want other players thinking that somehow, some way, not even other players, you don't want the public, you don't want young children to think in any way that this should be okay and this should be reduced. I'm okay with the suspension the way it is.
Yep. I'm sticking with the suspension as is. I don't think it gets reduced. It's his one infraction, but he sticks it out no matter how long the Browns go this season. I think it stays as is.
Well, I'm going to have to say it like this. This is an unprecedented suspension. It's never been done before. Even on similar actions, there's been less suspensions handed out. And therefore, you have to reduce this guy's suspension because it's not in the CBA. He didn't violate rules. It'd be way unprecedented. It'd be the biggest suspension for something like this other than the Burfett, who Burfett had like 6 suspensions already. Myles Garrett has had 2 fines. So it's a little and let's be real. This isn't.
I have something to add on as a bonus note when you get into.
The problem I have with this suspension is an indefinite suspension to me is for something that is done that is unprovoked. What happened last Thursday with Myles Garrett was completely provoked and would have never happened if some frat boy dipshit would have just been a professional quarterback and just took the damn hit and got up and went to the next play. Instead, he chose to throw a little fit and act like a bitch boy and create a huge storm that everybody is pointing the finger and acting like this guy is a psycho. I said it before and I'll say it again. I'm off the chains when it comes to this. If that's me and I'm in Myles Garrett, he's missing some fingers, and the least of his problem is getting bonked on the head with his freaking helmet. It would have been a lot worse had he done what he did to Myles Garrett at the beginning of that. Because at some point, there was no flag for that hit. The first flag came out when he got hit with the helmet. And so, yeah, I just feel like it's way too much for something that was in a provoked reaction, and everybody wants to sweep that under the rug. It's too much.
So there's something of a bonus note I wanted to add in. Jay just mentioned. So I dug in on this because I saw it come up 2 days ago. The CBA does not currently have anything in their regulations for having a indefinite suspension in season. So their lawyers for Garrett in the appeal is going to present that and be like, you suspended him incorrectly. And the fact that they're going to use it as a loophole to try and get him the suspension dropped completely because it was an illegal suspension. And it's happened in the past with other players' suspensions